Welcome to the Home-Centered Life podcast, where we seek to slow down, opt out of anxiety, and live an unhurried life. We're so glad you're here.
Journey alongside us as we learn about homesteading, homemaking, and living a more simple, home-centered life. Because we think the richest life possible is centered around the home.
Welcome back to the Home-Centered Life podcast. So today we're going to talk about lessons we have learned so far on our homesteading journey. So this is exciting. I'm excited for this one. So we're going to share 7 things we've learned so far, kind of overarching lessons, and then kind of some practical things as well. More just to share what's been going on and to encourage those of you that are in it or have yet started. And I think that one of the things that's been so fun about homesteading is that it's just an opportunity to just continually learn and grow, which maybe is going to be one of the lessons that we share.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Before we dive into our 7 things, what's been your favorite thing about homesteading? Putting you on the spot here.
Well, that is the answer to that is one of the 7 things that we're going to talk about.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I'll cool.
But which one of the 7?
Yeah, that's a good. Okay. I'll follow back up with you and then you can tell me which one. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Well, yeah, we've been homesteading I feel like that's the thing is we've sort of realized if you've listened to our episode about, what was it?
Well, we've talked about it a couple times in our very first episode, we talked about kind of our story.
Yeah.
And alluded to what homesteading looked like at that property, in that house, apartment, whatever, in that season.
Yeah.
Because it's something that's kind of grown over time.
Yeah.
The homesteading that we're doing has grown slowly over time. And that is technically a thing we've learned, I guess, but it wasn't one of the 7.
Yeah. Well, I think that's I feel like people have this image in their minds of like, again, we've talked about this before, but homesteading on 50 acres with all the animals and a 12-acre garden and, all these things that you see in the magazine or in videos online. And I think the thing that, we've learned too is like we've been kind of doing it since we've been married in different forms, but it's just grown over time and it's something we want to continue to have take up more of our time. Like that's the goal, is to do it like, full time as a family, or, like we're doing it together as part of our rhythm of life. So that's, I think, what I love to do. I love it that it's been such a family project, I think for a while it was more my thing,
Yep.
And that's another encouragement to, if your husband or wife or spouse is not maybe yet on board, it doesn't mean that they'll never be. I feel like you were always supportive, but it felt way more like that's Christina's thing. And then just like, it's been really cool to watch you get excited about things. And I told you so many times last summer, I was like, 90% of what we were able to do last summer, I would not have been able to do on my own. But because we were doing it together, we were able to do so many more things, like doing meat chickens. Like I would have loved that in theory, and doing like building tractors, like, and I probably could have figured it out, but doing it together was like, okay, we can do this thing. And we have, dreams and goals for this coming year that are only possible because we're doing it together. So so that's a good reminder for all of you out there that feel like, man, it'll never happen. Just keep showing up and keep doing it joyful. I feel like with joy, and they'll bring the other person along eventually. At least that's the hope.
Well, I think that can be a good segue into, because that was on the list, and we can just make that the new number 1.
Yeah.
Because one of the surprising things that we've learned is how much joy and just how powerful it's been to just be doing it together.
Yeah.
And we know people who are not in that space where one person is more into it than the other person, or and if you are in that space, speaking as the part of the equation that was not as into it. But if you are the one listening and you are into it and your spouse, partner, or whatever is not into it, I think the one thing I would say is make it, well, number one, don't badger them and you didn't, so that wouldn't have helped, but make it as effortless and attractive as possible. A lot of people make homesteading harder than it needs to be.
Yeah.
And here's one way to make sure your spouse never joins you. Make it look miserable. So if you're doing the stuff and you're like, I've got like 2 extra full-time jobs and it's just woe is me because my spouse won't help me. What you don't understand is that the reason your spouse is not helping you is because you make it look miserable.
Yeah.
So you can take a little bit of ownership in that just by making it look attractive, making it look fun, letting it enrich your, because that's kind of the whole point anyway.
Yeah, totally.
People who do homesteading and then complain about how tired and burnt out they are, I don't have any sympathy for you because you did that to yourself. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
And if you start out with the assumption that it doesn't have to be that way, you'll find the ways to make sure it never becomes that. I know people, we know lots of people who are like, oh, we're so burnt out from this, that, the other thing. Like, well, whose fault is that?
Yeah.
And so, but if you're doing that, then that is probably going to be part of the reason your spouse is not joining you. That being said, the togetherness aspect of this is probably my tippy top favorite part to answer your original question.
That's good. Yeah.
And being able, not just togetherness, you and I, but togetherness, our kids, what we were able to do last summer. But what I was able to include our daughter in last summer was like the best part.
It was
when she would try to hammer in stakes and things like that, or when she would help me screw in screws for the chickshaw. It was just hilarious and awesome. And you can't trade that for the world.
And I mean, and this is her being last summer 18 months old. So, I mean, you can start young too. So like if you're wanting to do this with your kids, like you can always scale it down to include your child. Like our little guy is gonna be, I'll just wear him outside and we'll just do the things together and he'll still be included. And, I think that's also the beauty is that we're seeing that kids want to feel included. They want to feel like they have a purpose from the very beginning. We all need that. And so doing that together again as a couple and as a family unit, I think is also my favorite part for sure. And I don't think, because I was doing it by myself before, I didn't realize how much more enriching and exciting it would be because we're dreaming together, we're planning together, we're talking about what's coming up for the year. And I never thought I would hear you say that you want to like plant a garden or like plant a garden. I was like, what? So anything is possible. So that is definitely our lesson number 1 thing that we've learned.
And one kind of combining 2 more things that we've said with our kids being part of it. Again, make it as joyful and effortless as possible because you know who else is not going to want to join you if you make it miserable? Your kids.
For sure.
So when we were like, I don't necessarily like weeding, but when we were preparing that plot for the garden and we were, tearing up that grass and trying to turn it into a garden and putting the clumps of grass in the wheelbarrow. And our daughter just started doing it. Yeah. She could barely walk and she's like toddling over, dropping most of the stuff and heaving over like it was 100-pound weight. But there was no misery. There was no have to. Like I have to go feed the chickens. I see a lot of kids. They push back and the parents are so confused. But I listen to the parents' language. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do whatever it is you're doing. I don't want to do it because you're miserable. It owns you. You don't own it. And the language of like have to. With that kind of stuff. Just like, no, you don't have to. You get to. Yeah. And doing it in a way that's as effortless and as joyful as possible makes it as attractive as possible to your spouse or your kids or whoever.
Yeah, love it. That's good.
Kind of along the same lines, one of the ways to make it miserable is to aim for perfection. And I think that's the second thing that we've learned is perfectionism will just kill the whole thing. Or it'll stop it from ever happening in the first place, which I think was part of my struggle. Part of the reason I didn't want to engage is because I knew I didn't have the knowledge, the tools, the time, the motivation, whatever. I didn't have whatever to do it perfectly. Yeah. And when we went to the Homesteading Festival and listened to Joel Salatin speak, the things that he said that like resonated with me the most were the things that he said around this.
Mm-hmm.
And he shared a story of, his dad being so talented with woodworking in particular, and like meticulous and, perfect right angles and everything. And Joel is anything but that. And he put together a gate that barely did the job. And his dad was like, great job, even though it was clearly not perfect.
Yeah.
And that ability to realize that, number one, good enough is perfect. Like, it's a gate. Does it keep the animal in? Then that's perfect. That's great. Good enough is perfect. It does the thing it's supposed to do. That's perfect. Also, done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
So often
Totally.
perfection is not actually the desire to do something 100%. It's the reason it's done 0%,
Yeah.
which is where I was at.
Totally.
I was 0% doing it because of perfectionism. And then the other thing he said that just like grabbed me was, there's a saying, anything worth doing is worth doing well. And he said, I disagree. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly first.
Yeah.
I was like, that is what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
And so
love that.
if there's folks who need to hear that, especially with homesteading, if it's worth doing poorly first. The very first time you do it, you're going to do it poorly. I don't know.
Totally.
I don't know how I got the impression that somehow certain things should come naturally. Like I should just do them perfectly the first time. What a weird thing to assume.
Yeah.
When is that ever the case?
Totally. Yeah.
But I had some of those like kind of underlying assumptions. So anything worth doing is worth doing poorly first is a great mantra for the homesteading journey.
I love it. I think, and that's so good. I love all that. And I remember how impactful that talk was from Joel Salatin. So thank you, Joel Salatin. We love you. But no, but I think the other thing that, like, if I'm being also totally transparent, like, I've struggled with perfectionism for a long, long time. And the one thing I've always said to you and to other people about why I love homesteading and why I love gardening is because, especially with gardening for me, it's like, okay, I have a packet of seeds I bought for $3, and all I have to do is put them in the ground and water them. And if I screw it up, all I did was lose $3,
Yeah, nothing died.
And there's nothing. I know plants have lives, but it's like, I feel like for me, it relieved this pressure of like, man, I just get to experiment. I get to dig my hands in the dirt and I get to play and let it be something fun and enjoyable. And just like, I think that's how I've approached, especially the gardening aspect of homesteading. Like, let's just see what happens. Like, I don't have time to plan a perfect garden with little kids, but I'm going to throw these seeds in the ground and see what comes up and see how it goes. And I think that's been so fun for me. So I love that lesson. That's for sure been one of the best ones yet. Cool. Let's do lesson number 3. You want to tee this one off here?
Yeah.
It's a good one for you.
Yeah. This was one of my big lessons because once I dove in, I wanted to go like full throttle. I was motivated. And that's all fine. But I really wanted things to happen in my time. But I think this is a good reminder.
Yeah.
And I needed this. And I think probably a lot of people need this reminder. Things don't happen in our time. They happen in their time. We got chickens, and we shared before, we got pullets that were basically already laying or just about to lay the first time. But then the second time we got chicks. And we raised them up from chicks. And I just was like, okay, I'm ready for you to start laying.
Day 2.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I mean, it was a little bit longer than that, but it was like, we weren't getting that many eggs because from our original 10, and I wanted to eat more eggs, and we had chickens and we're feeding them a bunch of feed and we're not getting anything from them. And so I was like, okay, like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And, of course, what a silly thing to say, but a lot of our life is microwavable, speed upable. You can push down the accelerator more and get there faster theoretically. Yeah. Amazon Prime-able. So much of life is you can toggle the speed up, and most of us do toggle it all the way up to maximum.
Yeah.
And to have something that just is like a reminder that that's not the way the natural world works was so helpful. So yeah, that'd be number 3. Things happen in their own time,
Yeah.
not my time.
Right.
And we haven't even planted fruit trees. I'm probably
No.
going to lose my religion when we plant fruit trees for the first time.
Well,
And like they don't produce for however long.
I know. We've been researching dairy cows too, and you can get like a heifer, which I didn't know meant like a baby cow. Again, I'm still learning, but they were like, yeah, it'll be like at least 18 months before you get milk. So that's like chickens times 5 times 4, you know?
Yep.
So anyway, I know there are things you can speed up, but when you have living beings, whether it's your lettuce seeds or your chickens, like they're going to happen in their own time. Yeah.
That's funny you say that, because subconsciously I have been thinking like, we're going to get a milk cow. And in my mind, I'm like, when we get the cow, we'll get the milk.
Yeah.
But again, that's not the way the world works.
Yeah.
That's not the way the natural world works, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Unless you go get a lactating milk cow.
Even just one last thing, and then we'll jump to the next one. We had this really crazy cold spell here for about a week or 10 days. And we were getting, from our 50-ish chickens before the cold spell, we were getting like 18 eggs in the middle of winter. And then it got to like -10, and we went down to like 3 eggs, and we had someone that wanted to buy some. And I was like, we literally don't even have a dozen right now. And again, like when you are used to buying your food from the store, like there's always eggs, but like in the reality, it's like, okay, it's going to fluctuate with the seasons, with time, with temperature, with age, all these things. And so even that was for me a reminder, like, shoot, I'll circle back with you in a week, you know? So I don't know. I think that that's been a good lesson for me too. Really grounding, I'd say. Speaking of chickens, number 4, chickens really are the gateway animal drug.
Everybody says this. Yeah.
I know, but we're just affirming that is true. Start with chickens. If you haven't gotten any animals yet, if you are curious about having animals, start with chickens. Way to go. It's the best way to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I've heard people say like, well, you can start with goats. You can start with cows. I get it. You can start with those animals. But you probably won't.
Yeah.
But chickens feel manageable enough that they'll help. I mean, if you're like, no, I'm doing the dairy cow first. Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I think most people are like, dairy cow is not a good gateway animal because it's so big.
Yeah, for sure.
Goats, even people who don't have goats know, well, they'll tell you that they're impossible to keep in.
Yeah.
But because of chickens just the way they are, they make a great gateway drug animal because they're so accessible and they're so cheap. Like the infrastructure, the chickens themselves, all that sort of stuff. You get
that automatic return. Yeah. Well, we have our whole episode on keeping chickens. So if you want to check that out, we'll link that in the description here. But yeah, chickens. Start with chickens.
And I would say start with pullets personally.
That's a good,
for that instant gratification of like they showed up and they are laying.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a long game if you get chicks.
Yeah.
I get, again, you can do that.
Yeah.
But that's one of those times where I feel like people actually make it harder than it needs to be by doing that.
Right.
Because then 18 weeks is a long time.
Yeah.
If you've never had the satisfaction versus like the pullets show up and basically are laying right away. It's very satisfying.
It is.
So there's that emotional component of it, of like instant gratification.
It kind of keeps you going.
Kind of keeps you going. Yeah. Because you're new to the journey at that point.
Totally.
And
that's good.
Maybe you can like white knuckle it. But again, like, why do you need to white knuckle it?
Yeah.
Well, that whole like grin and bear it, like buckle down, I can do this. You might be able to, but nobody else around is going to want to join you because of that attitude.
Yeah.
So just pullets, I would say.
Pullets, yeah. Again, pullets, for those of you, they're just like grown chickens, basically. And they're
already laying or just about to.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. So that is lesson number 4. Lesson number 5.
You really don't need a ton of land. If you listen to our podcast, you know we have just under 16 acres. But do you know how much of it we actually have access to use for this so far? Not.
You calculate it.
Maybe like an acre?
Yeah. An acre and a half, maybe?
Yeah.
The rest of for those of you that haven't heard us say this, the rest of our property is basically like whatever degree this is. This is like 60 degree steep hill with black walnuts, which we learned are great for harvesting for timber, black walnut trees. But they leach into the soil, so it makes it really hard to plant things
Yep.
underneath. And there's lots of briars, so it's not like hill with pasture. So again, not saying we can't do stuff with it,
Mhm.
but
We don't just have like a 16-acre flat square plot of
which that would be
like
dreamy. Yeah, that's
nice
a goal.
grass. Yeah.
That's a goal. But
Sure.
I think originally we were envisioning like 100 acres. Now we're like, wow, we could do way less for our future property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still just want 100 acres because I want space.
Well, I like it because the 100-acre wood from Winnie the Pooh. Okay. I want to have our own 100-acre wood.
That's good.
Yeah. So Winnie
well,
the
then
Pooh
we would need like 150 acres.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But you really don't need to do the things, even though we have almost in air quotes. I mean, Joel Salatin even talks about this. If you can't access it, you don't have it.
Yeah. The land. Yeah.
Yeah. So in a sense, from a logistics standpoint, we only have like an acre and a half, if that, and like a quarter of that is like swamp anyway.
True.
With the reed canary grass. So like, I mean, we're doing the best we can with what we have, and we're doing more. And if you know anything about briars and goats and that stuff, you can already kind of see where we might be going with that side of things. But the point more is, I kept thinking we can't even start until we have.
Yeah, totally.
But that is not super true, and it's also not super useful to think along those lines. So much more. This is more of Sean and Beth Doherty. I think their thought process is like, look at the land you have and let it tell you what it can do.
Yeah.
And so that's another reason why chickens are such a good gateway animal, because usually the answer is, can this current situation support 2 chickens? Usually the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But if you look at the land and you let it inform you, then you kind of know where to start, versus like, well, I want 100 head of cattle.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Right.
Not on this property, probably.
Totally.
But we've let that kind of guide us in like, I don't really want goats, but I think they would be perfect for this property.
Yeah.
Like the property wants goats almost more than I want them. And so I'm more like, yeah, let's do it, because it almost like is what the property calls for, with the way it's laid out. And it might even pave the way for other things like pigs and cows and a dairy cow, that kind of stuff. So
for sure. Yeah. So again, just an encouragement to start with where you're at. And again, starting like, even if you have like a tiny little postage stamp of a yard, you know, or you can start with that.
She talks about a dairy cow in a garage.
Yeah.
In the Keeping a Family Milk Cow.
Yep.
She talks about, I don't know how to pronounce her name, so that's why I'm not saying it, because I don't know how you say it. But she talks about how she's seen it done.
Yeah.
Like you feed them hay, so they're still like grass fed.
Yeah.
And you don't buy a lawnmower, because whatever grass you have, the cow eats. But it's not enough. But you mostly just like keep. Yeah. It's still a better life than a lot of dairy cows.
True. That's a good point. Yeah. So it's totally possible.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, number 6, we kind of alluded to this in the very beginning, but one of the coolest gifts I think of homesteading is that it's an opportunity to continually learn and grow. Not just learn the practical, tactical things, but learn and grow as a human. Like that lesson that you're like, man, things don't happen in my timing. Like that's a lesson that the land and this process has shown me and us. And I feel like it's been, again, there's opportunities to do all the research and learn the practical, tactical things, but also just like growing as people. And I think for me, especially being outside and working the land and being connected to nature and doing it as a family, it's like, man, this is what makes me come alive. And then that opens up opportunities in other arenas of my life to show up better and to do my work and to heal parts of myself. And I feel like that's why, we are calling our homestead Harvesting Restoration, because the combination of working the land and then restoring the land allows me to be restored as a human and hopefully helping other people to be restored too. Yeah. So I think I know I'm getting kind of up in the clouds here, but I really do feel like this is one of the biggest gifts of this whole thing. I don't know what you think about that, but
yeah, I 100% agree. And to maybe slightly bring it down out of the clouds, that continual learning and growth, there's been some cool research papers that have come out, I think relatively recently, on that continual learning and growth, especially when it comes to doing hard things.
Mm-hmm.
And homesteading is full of opportunities to learn and grow and do hard things. And one paper that, if you want to do a deep dive on this, probably the Huberman Lab, Dr. Angie Huberman is the best resource to deep dive down this, but I'll nutshell it for you. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex is a part of the brain that's basically associated with not just will and willpower, but also the will to live. And one of the things that the research is showing is that people who stop learning and stop growing and stop doing hard things, their anterior mid-cingulate cortex atrophies and they lose the will to live.
Yeah, so crazy.
And so for me, learning, growing, doing hard things, especially the research shows hard things you don't actually want to do are actually the best way to maintain that and even grow that part of your brain.
Yeah.
Thereby growing your will, your willpower, and I think most importantly, your will to live.
Yeah. Wow.
And so homesteading is one of the things that we do to, continue on that trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be old people who plateau and prematurely decline.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we want to live forever, but I don't want to get to 60, 65, 70 and just be like, okay, it's all downhill from here until whenever. I want to be learning and growing and doing hard things all the way until the end. And I think homesteading is actually a great almost excuse if you need one to keep learning and growing. And people who poo-poo it as like an expensive hobby, or I don't see it that way. I see it as an excuse to do hard things in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And so,
I agree. Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like your parents, I've really been impressed by your parents because they pivoted in like their early 60s, moved from the suburbs where they'd lived their whole lives. And now they have 5 acres and they have beef cattle and chickens and goats. And I think, is that it? But they've done meat chickens, and I'm just like, I'm so impressed. And they have this big garden. And anyway, like, again, they're choosing to say like, hey, we're going to continue learning and growing. And I feel like they did get some pushback from some of their friends that they're like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, we don't want to decline. We want to keep living life well. So shout out to your parents or anyone really that's deciding to take this journey at any stage of life. It's like, you're going to be on this learning journey, and it's so worth it. On the flip side, our number 7 to end on not a negative note, but on a silly note.
I don't think of it as a negative note, because all of this you could frame as like negative if you want to. But I think of this as freeing.
Number 7. Yeah. Okay. What is it? Bring it down for us.
You will do at least one thing that you end up hating.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Or strongly dislike.
That you end up hating or strongly dislike. And that's okay.
Yeah.
If you get into something, hardly anything in homesteading is permanent.
Yeah. So true.
And unless you try to go from 0 to 100, from like suburbanite to farmer, which I don't recommend.
No.
That's not even our goal at all. If you try to go from 0 to 100 and be like a full-time farmer, you're going to probably get yourself stuck in something you really don't like. But if you take it step by step and try new things, you will probably eventually get an animal or grow something that in hindsight, you're like, I never want to do that again. A lot of people get goats and they're like, I'll never get goats again. Or they do meat chickens and they're like, I'll never do that again for whatever reason. But it's okay. It's probably going to happen. You're probably going to do something you hate, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Do something else.
Yep.
Again, don't make it harder than it has to be. Don't make it just a laundry list of things you hate.
Yeah.
If you try soap making and you hate it, or it explodes, because I hear that's a thing. Then don't do soap making anymore. I know people who they raise goats for the goat milk for the soap, and then they let somebody else do the soap making.
Yeah.
You can find somebody who loves the thing that you don't like so much.
That's so true. Yeah.
For us, I think probably the main one so far has been guinea fowl.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Yeah. For whatever reason. Either because we didn't release them outside soon enough, or maybe we just got a bad batch, or I don't know. But they seem incapable of keeping themselves alive. They keep escaping.
I just
And
put
then
two of them back a
and
few
then
minutes ago.
they escape, and then they won't come back, and then they freeze to death or get eaten,
Yeah.
and we're just like, they seem like they're on just a giant suicide mission.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty frustrating
Yeah.
because
Totally.
we had to, basically put them inside with our chickens. The whole point was for them to like roam free and eat ticks, but now they're just inside with the chickens doing nothing of value for the homestead. So
we were
probably won't do that again.
Probably guineas will be not again for us, but so yeah, that's a good perspective. It's really freeing to not, again, goes back to that perfectionism piece.
Right.
So like you're not going to perfectly plan out which animals you're going to love.
You're not going to do it perfectly.
I think I have a vision of what I think I'm going to love, and then we'll see in reality what it's like.
Yeah.
But it's very temporary. A lot of the things can be temporary. You can, rehome animals, you can, find someone, you can not grow the zucchini variety that you hate or whatever it is, choose to do something else next year. So that's good. Yeah. I like that.
A lot of homesteading and a lot of life is falling in love with ideas of things, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
But also, a lot of people will reject things just because of their idea of them. That's not so much okay. Yeah. But in this conversation, I'm talking specifically about like, I'm still in love with the idea of heating our home with wood. I've never actually done it.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm not going to do. Buy a house that only has a wood stove, nothing else. Because what if I hate it?
Yeah.
Then we are screwed. So when you take things step by step by step, and again, don't make them harder than they have to be. Don't go from 0 to 100. We have, a water boiler and liquid propane now, and we want to get a wood stove here so we can try it out.
Yeah.
Because what if we hate it?
Yeah.
What if we hate chopping wood? Well, then you get, what's it called? A splitter.
Oh yeah,
that's
splitter.
Hydraulic splitter. Okay, cool. Yeah. But let's just say for the sake of argument that like we end up hating that whole thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. Yeah.
So really, that there's like lots of opportunities, especially if you're willing to go at the pace that nature wants to go with you.
Totally.
And just like try things little by little. Don't try to do it all at once.
Yeah.
And recognize like if you hate something, that's normal. That's going to happen. And you don't have to keep doing it. You don't have to keep heating your home with wood.
I know. I feel like that's a good place to end on, is like this whole homesteading thing is really supposed to be something that I hope would bring you joy, and that's like the bottom line. If it brings you joy and it helps you be a healthier human, like, then awesome, do it. But if you don't love it, that's okay too. So I feel like that's kind of what we're learning through this process, is it does really bring us joy and we do really love it. But if we didn't, we probably wouldn't force ourselves to keep doing it. So I think,
or we would do a modified version of it that did bring us more joy.
That's true. Yeah. So there's a lot of freedom in it, but hopefully these 7 lessons have been helpful to you guys. And as always, I love to hear from you guys. What have you learned on your homesteading journey? Do you resonate with some of these things? Has your experience been similar? Just let us know, leave a comment. And as always, we're just so glad that you're here.
Thanks so much for joining us for our conversation around the things we've learned about homesteading so far.
We hope you found it both helpful and encouraging. And if you like this episode, we would love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's a great zero-cost way to support this podcast.
You can also find us on Apple and Spotify and leave us up to a 5-star review. One of the amazing things about the world we live in today is that you can support us in our journey living a home-centered life just by subscribing and leaving a review.
We look forward to connecting again soon. And as always, thank you so much for joining us as we seek to live a more home-centered life.